texture equals your hair thickness, and density equals your hair per follicle. Okay, the amount of hair strands you have per follicle, also known as the amount of strands on your scalp as well. Okay, but so you hear people say it different ways. So like I just said, 2 different ways. Actually, another way you could say it is amount of hair within a per square inch or per square centimeter. Okay, the amount of strands you actually have. So it has nothing to do with your thickness. It has nothing to do with none of that. It is the number of strands that is growing out of a follicle. So I'm gonna put that chart up there as well as images. Okay, so when someone say like she has really thick hair, or here's the thing, people will always tell me like, oh, she has really thick hair, you have really thick hair, it's really full and everything else. I think a lot of times they're confusing my hair texture. Okay, if I have a medium texture, my hair is not thick. My density is pretty high, and honestly, I think I have a very medium density if you ask me. I don't think it's a high density, I think it's a medium density. But they're confusing the two when they're looking at my head of hair. Just when you're actually looking at someone and you see their hair, just your natural reaction is to say, oh, your hair is thick. Oh, your hair is coarse. Oh, your hair is full. Okay, so, but not knowing that texture and density is totally different. Okay, because I can have a smaller amount of hair strands on my head than somebody who has thin hair, okay, but have a high density. Do you get what I'm saying? Like the combination can switch up. Somebody can have fine hair but have a very high density, and we're going to get into density as well. I'm going to get into those definitions, but somebody can have fine hair, have a very high density, which means that they have more hair strands on their head than I do, and it is possible for their hair to look fuller than mine because they have more strands on their hair, creating more of a dense look in their hair. Hold on to it, y'all, hold on to it. But that is exactly what I mean by density. Is the first thing you see is the fullness of someone's hair. Lamest terms, I'm gonna say it just like that. It is the fullness of your hair, and those 3 levels of hair density is thin, average, and thick. Okay, y'all, let's jump into this because I'm ready to talk about density, y'all, because we're gonna get it. So like I mentioned, thin is the very first type of density. Okay, I'm just gonna say type because it's not really a level or anything like that. We're just gonna say type. So thin is the very first type of density. So how do you identify with this? So I'm going to also give you an at-home test, but I'm just trying to make this very clear for you. So for thin density hair, if you can look at someone's head, just onward, just like looking at their head, and you can see their scalp very well through their hair, they definitely have thin density, also known as low density hair. Okay, the next one is average density. Okay, so for average density of hair, when you look at someone's hair in the front, we're going to just say the front, okay, and it's not really easy to really see their scalp, but you can see it just a little bit. It's maybe slightly visible but not really visible. They have average density. Okay, I like to believe I have average density. And then for, of course, thick density, if you cannot see their scalp, then they have thick density. I'm telling you now, and that is known as high. Okay, so also average is known as medium. I didn't say that. So you hear people say low, medium, or high density. Okay, so I just want to put a nugget out there. For those who are trying to identify with their density, do not try to identify with your density if you are dealing with any type of alopecia, postpartum hair loss, traction alopecia. Understand that, for example, like me, you see how I'm still just growing my edges out here, right? You see how this little spot here is still a little shallow, y'all, but the rest of my hair is growing in pretty well. This is just being a nuisance to me right here, okay? But what my point is to you is, don't try to do this test and say, hey, I have low density hair because look, I can see my scalp and you know it's visible to me. You're not giving yourself a chance, okay? To really identify what your density is, if you get what I'm saying. It's unfair to you to try to do that, to do a testing and your hair is not at its best. Thank you, Jesus. That's what it is. Your hair is not at its best, at a healthy state, okay? It can be hard to identify your density and, well, yeah, your texture too. It can go for both if your hair is not at a healthy state, okay? So I will tell you to try to, you know, identify those two things, your texture and your density, if your hair is at a very healthy state, okay? It's easier to do so, okay? But yeah, you will send yourself through the ringer if you try to do that and you have these conditions where you're losing hair and everything else, okay? So don't do that to yourself. Allow your hair to get back at a healthy state, and then let's try to identify what your texture and your density is, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there for you all. Okay, so much like the at-home test for texture, you can do an at-home test for density as well, okay? So like I said, just looking onto someone's head, you can tell their density, but you can also tell density at home by yourself if you take your ponytail, okay? You can take your hair, put it in a ponytail, and then measure the circumference of it, okay? So that means take your measuring tape, okay? And actually wrap that around your ponytail. So for low density, if you know you have low density, if the number is below 2 inches, you have low density. If the number is between 2 to 4, then you have medium density. If the number is beyond 4, you have high density hair. So that is exactly how you can do that. Like I said, I will be providing a video of myself doing all of these things, okay? So yeah, those are 2 ways you can really look at, to really try to determine density, is looking at the front of your head and also pulling your hair back in a ponytail, okay? So that's density, y'all. Density and texture is very important to take in consideration when you're talking about, or you're looking at, you know, individuals' hair, okay? When you're looking at the fullness of somebody's hair, when you're actually looking at the strand of somebody's hair. So whenever you look at somebody's hair, you're like, whoa, her hair is very voluminous. I mean, it's bouncy and everything, it's bomb, she is full. You're really talking about the density. I bet you, more than likely, it is the density of that person's hair that is that you're really talking about at the end of the day, is the amount of strands that's actually on their head, okay? So an example, 2 girls, we can say they have what, shoulder length hair or mid back hair length hair, okay? So either or. So 2 girls, they both have medium texture hair, okay? So medium texture hair, girl A, however, has medium texture hair with average density. The girl B has medium texture hair with thick density, okay? So girl B actually and girl A actually have medium thickness of hair. Their hair strand is exactly the same. However, girl B's hair is going to look much fuller than girl A's hair because the amount of strands per follicle in her hair is higher than girl A's hair, okay? Do you get what I'm saying? So her hair is definitely going to look fuller than girl A's because she has way more strands on her head. So of course, girl B, even though they're both medium texture hair, girl B has a lot more strands than girl A does, okay? So from my knowledge, you cannot change the number of strands that actually grow within your hair follicle, but you can change the thickness. Like, you'll get people who will say, like, I cut my hair off and it grew back thicker or it grew back stronger, right? But that's what I mean by it can, your hair strand, your texture can get thicker on you, okay? I'm not telling you to go cut your hair off. I'm not telling you to do none of that, but if you're dealing with hair loss and everything else, your hair can come back. That hair strand itself can come back thicker and stronger, you know? Like I said, healthy scalp equals healthy hair. Okay, so if you can maintain a healthy scalp and maintain healthy hair, you can really help and cultivate that hair strand to get thicker and to get stronger for you, okay? So from my knowledge, you cannot change the number of strands in your follicle, but you can change the thickness of your strand, which is your hair texture. Remember, texture equals the thickness of your strand. Density equals the number of strands per follicle, okay? So that is exactly what it is. Okay, so let's really get to the good stuff, right? Let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to it. So how does this all come into full circle with a wash and go combo, right? How does this really influence or impact what our hair can take in at the end of the day, like our hair products, right? How does hair products really impact our hair if we have, you know, high density hair, fine hair, medium hair, you know, how does that all work? How does this all come together? Okay, so I'm going to give you a few examples, all right? So that way we can really grasp this thing. So if you have fine hair, right? Fine texture, let's start with texture. If you have fine texture for a combo, but you have a very thin density, you do not really want to play with oils already, right? Because remember I said fine hair, oils can, you know, really weigh down the hair and everything else. They're more prone to, you know, build up in their hair as well, like oils as well, right? So, but if you have fine and thin density, you really want to stay away from oils. A little bit of oil will go a long way for you. I don't want to say stay away from oils, because if you're a person who loves oils such as myself, you know, you can still use oils, but understand that a little can go a long way for you. So I'm gonna use my mom for example. Her hair is very fine at the end of the day. Like I said before, she can put her hair up in a ponytail and everything else and do what she gotta do with it, okay? And I believe her density would be more of on the thin side as well, okay? As older, she's gotten older too, so her hair is thin now as well too. So I'm just gonna say she's a fine, thin person. So with that being said, just her hair alone can't take a whole lot of oil on it, or you will begin to see her scalp if she put too much oil in her hair. And she'll complain if she feels like there's a lot of product weighing down her hair. She could feel that gook on her hair, and she'll tell us like, hey, my hair is just too oily, that was too heavy for my hair. Matter of fact, I had she wanted some type of moisturizer at the time, but we couldn't get our hands on any moisturizer. So I had gave her the Taliah Waajid curl definer. Now I told her up front that yes, it is heavy, it's pretty heavy on my hair and everything else, and I do use it on the girl's hair, okay? So deep down inside I thought to myself, like, you know, maybe it might be heavy on her hair because I know her hair texture and density. So with that being said, she goes home, she uses it and everything else. She still wanted to give it a chance, give it a try. Came back about a week later, let me know it did not work because she said it was just too heavy for her hair, right? That is a product that's just too heavy for her fine, thin hair at the end of the day. It does nothing for it but weighs it down. It will cause her hair to part. It will cause her scalp to show at the end of the day. It does not help with any type of fullness in her hair. So in order for her to maintain her sense of fullness in her hair, she will have to make sure that she is not using heavy products on her hair as well as heavy oils on her hair. So she would definitely stay away from castor oils. Now, if she wants to do a mix and use carrier oils and everything else, then she can do that. But she cannot use castor oil on her hair. Sorry, y'all. She cannot use castor oil on her hair like I do, where castor oil really just makes my hair pop, okay? So it is not too heavy on my hair, okay? So that is an example of somebody with fine, thin hair. So, however, just going forward, for those who feel like, you know, okay, so what are our products? What do we use if we want more volume to our hair? We don't have that thickness that we want. Because I feel like a lot of people always want thickness. Everybody wants fullness, right? So, but for those who really want that thickness, that full look, okay? So I have some pointers on that I want to share as well. Use volumizing products, okay, and thickening shampoos and conditioners, okay, as well as your styling products. You want to use products that's going to volumize your hair, okay? So you can buy shampoos and conditioners that say, oh, thickening and volumizing on it. It has that on there, as well as, you know me, I'm a lover of mousse. So if you use a mousse, and some of my, I've used a Suave mousse, I want to say before in one of my videos, and it has volumizing on it. Let me know it's going to give me some volume to my hair, okay? So that's another way to bring about volume in your hair. Also, get more into stretching and actually fluffing your hair, flipping your hair around, okay? So that really helps with volumizing your hair and giving it that full appearance, okay? Remember, you can manipulate the appearance of fullness is what I'm saying, okay? You can also try to air dry your hair more than often, okay? So air dry your hair, allow it to really get its fullness in there. Don't try to blow dry it with heat. Heat, of course, straightens our hair out a little bit more than it would with our hair being air dried, okay? So one I seen on there was, it was saying how you should part your hair off in different areas, of course. And I think that more so comes into, like, you know, parting your hair can, you can train your hair to part itself, right? But you can also cause that part to thin itself out. So switch up your parts so that way you're not thinning out your parts. You don't look too thin because you're putting wear and tear on your hair in that area. Allow your parts to move around. Move your parts around, y'all. Move them around. Move them from side to side, okay? So that was another one. But y'all, these are things that you can do to help with volume. If you want volume, not everybody wants volume, you know. So, but y'all, I enjoy sharing this content with y'all. I hope y'all understood what I meant by all of this. I do want to just end this by saying this, that everyone has their own head of hair. And as people, we should appreciate our own head of hair, our hair texture, and our hair density is our own thing, okay, y'all? And we should love it. We should appreciate it, treat it well, maintain its health, okay? So, you know, it is nice that you can see hair that is big and voluminous and everything else. But also know that your hair is capable of doing any and everything, okay? So, we just have to get out of the habit of saying, oh, my hair can't do that. My hair can't do that. No, we're not going to talk about what our hair can't do, but we're going to do what our hair can do. Okay. So yeah, just appreciate your do. Appreciate your do and understand your do, and you'll get through. Okay, so thank you for watching this content today. I really appreciate you all sitting here with me and going through this process. Like I said, y'all, I'm like to overload y'all with a whole bunch of information, but I just really wanted to hone in on texture and density today, so that way you can get a great understanding of both. But until next time, my beauties, we are going to move on to another video so we can get through this wash and go series, y'all, so we can get our curls popping. Okay, we're gonna get through the month of April, and I'm going to go into May. Okay, and I'm gonna get all those mothers together for Mother's Day with their wash and go, so y'all can be popping, okay, by then. But for the summertime, we're gonna be popping, okay? So, but y'all, thank you for watching this, and I will catch you on my next video, beauties. And you all have a blessed and beautiful and wonderful day. Bye bye.